Hello, everybody. It is your Professor Rocco, your boy, coming at you once again with another Age of Sigmar video. In this AoS General class, well, we're going on a little field trip here to the Warhammer community website to do and look at this new Battlescroll update, see what it's all about, talk about it a little bit, and see how it'll affect you. Now, I did have some videos that will be coming out in the next couple weeks about different viewer topics, but this is just such a big thing. I can't not cover this right now. And I want to go and help people because, again, we're here for teaching newer players, and some people don't even know Warhammer Community has a website. So here we are, warhammercommunity.com. This is where they put the news. For years, this wasn't a thing with Games Workshop. This is a more recent development around the time of Age of Sigmar. And here's the article. So click on that bad boy. That's why you don't see my face. I need the whole screen here. Battlescroll. This will be the periodical, hopefully quarterly updates to rules getting tightened, points being fine-tuned. This is great for competitive play because, well, let's be honest, sometimes just having just twice a year, maybe, updates on points and warscroll changes sucks. It does. It just flat out sucks. That's just no sugarcoating it, class. It's bad because a book will be all powerful for 6 months to a year of the competitive circuit. The meta gets stale, which is funny because back in Warhammer Fantasy days, like books wouldn't get changed for 3, 4, 5, 6 years maybe. If that, you'd go a couple editions in between book changes, and now at least with we know every book should get updated within an edition. The exclusions of that currently were the Magakin of Nurgle that just got a book here at the start of 3rd edition, and my beloved Wet Elves, the Adoneth Deepkin. But every other book, and saw an update somewhere. Even Seraphon, who went 5 years without a book, got something at the end of very tail end of 2nd. So books generally are getting regularly updated, which is nice. But in that meantime, because we live in a world where a lot of video games are patched week to week, for the more competitive minded of us, a quarterly update of every 3 months is nice. There's little touches here and there, if something's broken or bent or it needs a little help. This is their new method of how to get it out. And honestly, this is okay for casual players too, because honestly, it comes out every 3 months. If you're playing a game a month, it's not that big of a deal with the few changes that are coming out to learn. And they are generally for the better health of your game. And some of these things you might even have house ruled yourself to be like, yeah, I don't like Unleash Hell. But you know what? You're playing in your basement with your friends. No judgment. If you're playing at tournaments and showing up to events like me, this is a good tool. And even then, if you're playing casually, you can make up your own rules for all you care. And none of this matters. But for those of us, the whole point of this is learning. Tournament play, we look at this. We're going to see going to take us to this lovely page here of downloads. I actually have it up here already at a nice readable level here. I can't really hide this. I'm sorry. But here we go. Battlescroll Gods and Heroes, the December update. So the first change here, they made a nice little PDF of it all. Instead of having to go from like each faction and each thing, they summarized it all. Because all this is also included in the regular FAQ section on their website. But first, we got to change to the heroic recovery, which I like, is that you cannot do a heroic recovery now if you're in combat. And if you pass the heroic recovery check now, where it's equal to or less than their bravery, you heal D3 wounds. There's no more if you meet your bravery, you heal 1 wound. So it's more effective, and you cannot be in combat to use it. So it's just one of those things that make heroes die quicker, and this is an edition where heroes can live seemingly forever, so it takes away one of those tools and puts it in a reasonable expectation. That's great. Gonna come over here to the charge phase command abilities. Unleash Hell. My bread and butter for my city's army is that you can use this command ability after an enemy unit finishes a charge move. The unit that receives the command must be within 6 inches of the enemy and more than 3 inches from all other enemy units. So basically, you can't already be in combat. And, the enemy unit you're targeting has to be within 6 inches of the unit that's shooting them. Models in the unit that receive this command that are within 6 inches of the target unit can shoot in that phase. But when they do, you must subtract 1 from hit rolls from their attacks, and they can only target the unit that made the charge move. So what does this mean is now it can't be like you have one model within 6 inches of the enemy unit and the whole unit shoots. This affects large units like Sentinels, where they'd have 30 models, they'd screen out. It's just really hard to fit that whole footprint in. It's doable, but it's a pain. But this is one of those things with those new coherency rules where people have to kind of rank up too deep, 2 ranks deep and then really wide, or like 3 or 4 ranks deep to be a more narrow formation. This is something that actually makes that make sense, where it's an opportunity cost. And how do you position your unit? So it's not like you automatically charge in a unit in front of, say, like you charge some Longbeards in front of a unit of Iron Drakes, and then they all get to just hit you from 9 inches away. So then they get their double shooting, and then that's a unit of 30, so they get 60 shots and kill you. And this is also the unit has to make the charge move, so that means that they'll get their impact hits and stuff, which is nice. And overall, it's a healthy thing for the game. And this pairs up with, for me, it'd be Free Guild, Handgunners, and Sisters of the Watch that can do this for free if the enemy unit ends within 3 inches of the unit. That's cool. Everybody else, you gotta pay a command point for it to use it normally. Sorry. Cities rules. Everyone else drools. The plus side, too, of this is it's just not as good. In a meta where a lot of mortal wound shooting has been like taking the day here, it's more clunky to use. It's not as good. You're not gonna get all your shots in. If you've got to charge the unit that can shoot, they're all gonna get in. But it's harder to cover other parts of their army with this change, which I like. Overall, it's healthier for the game. Next is the Amulet of Destiny that everybody and their grandmother took. Used to be a ward save of a 5-up, now it's a 6-up. So what does this mean? It's just less reliable. The whole Mega Gargants being 40 wounds on a 4-up save and a 5-up ward that made them seem so unkillable. It lowers that DPS check that a lot of armies had a hard time struggling with to something more manageable. It makes other artifacts more attractive. Now, not every book is a winner with good artifacts. And honestly, a lot of people will probably switch over to Arcane Tome, which is another universal artifact, where they make the bearer a wizard and be able to cast a spell. If you're already a wizard, you get to be a second cast. It's a whole thing. But the Amulet of Destiny was just like the old Ethereal Amulet, was too good at what it did on monster heroes that would automatically take it. If they limited it to like a wound count, so you needed 9 wounds or under to emphasize foot heroes taking it, I would have liked that. But as a 6-up ward, like all my friends that play Death are bemoaning this because they would take it on a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, make it a 5-up ward. It's one of those things where, yes, it's healthier for the state of the game to just be a 6-up ward. And some people are still going to take it because they don't get access to a ward save normally. This is still good. It's not great, which, again, that's what this is for. In the Grand Alliance of Order, Alariel somehow needed a nerf because she needed this. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. The problem was when she was in Living City, she was able to take her whole spell lore with her, which made her really cool. I mean, she's still a high point cost, like 700-ish points, but she summoned 200 points worth of a unit, then she felt like a 500-point hero should be. But now she doesn't get her Lore of the Deepwood spells. And that's a little rough. Whereas Marathi here gained all the spells from the Lore of Shadows, in addition to any spells she knows. So, as long as a part, again, of your parent army, the Daughters of Cain, like Alariel in her Sylvaneth book, is good. So if Marathi were to go to Anvilgard's other name, we don't talk about that because Anvilgard lives, she can't get all the Daughters of Cain spells, which is fine. But this is a buff for Marathi because she couldn't do this before. And she is a god model, and she's still at a very nice price point for Daughters of Cain players to take, where she seems to be... She doesn't need to be in the army, but when she's in the army, she's always worth her points. Like, she'll always kill enough, she'll do enough, be active enough. People freak out when they gotta go against a Marathi. It's the terror factor. And she got better. Does that mean Marathi Cain and the Shadow Queen are the end-all, be-all of Daughters of Cain? No. But they do a lot for the army, and players who know how to utilize her well will love this buff. Grand Alliance Destruction here. Kragnos got a new warscroll. We'll cover it a little bit, and it's nice. And he also hugely gained a 6-up ward save, which really, it's going to sound weird because he has a 2-up base save still. But in all this mortal wound shooting flying around everywhere, and the mortal wound protection he had against spells still being a dice roll to beat the spell casting, and it's a cool rule, but there's enough. Like, my Hurricanum would chew through Kragnos, and then the Fulminator shooting I'd have would chew through Kragnos, and then it's just, it's bad. He needed a ward save. He did. And a 6-up ward isn't overkill. There's a lot of wounds on Kragnos still. The new abilities are good on Kragnos, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I like the changes. And when it comes to the Alariel, I don't like that. I like that they're standardizing that the wizard god models can do their own spells in their own faction and not take that with them. I appreciate that. I think Alariel probably could use a point decrease or like a 6-up ward. I don't know, but it's like Alariel needs a little something, and Marathi just got better. So in the Grand Alliance for Chaos, the changes are Archaeon got touched, got a new warscroll, which is okay. Also got a points increase. The thing here, though, like, yes, the By My Will ability is nice for all Slaves to Darkness, all Chaos instead of Slaves to Darkness. I like that. The fact that Archaeon no longer benefits from Allegiance abilities except when he's part of a Slaves to Darkness army. And that coalition units in the God books for Chaos don't benefit from their Allegiance abilities. No, I'm laughing at my Cities to Sigmar army. Until they take that away from me, maybe. I don't know. But this is for the health of the game, and for those 4 armies to be more of those 4 armies, to be individual bits and not rely on the Slaves to Darkness book to like fix their shortcomings. I like it. Archaeon was what was generally keeping he himself was keeping the Tzeentch win rate in that book afloat. There are good players that don't need Archaeon, but he did a lot of heavy lifting for a very long time through 2nd and into 3rd edition. And part of that was Archaeon's ability to use Destiny dice when he could. It was, you guaranteed the charge, you guaranteed people getting in the sword to auto kill them. And now Archaeon is back to being okay. I think a lot of tournament minded people are going to lean off of him. But at the end of the day, he's still a beat stick. He kept all his damage. We'll see the war scroll at the end of this. And we'll talk more about it then. And the coalition thing is just, it's a kick in the teeth for some of these books that still need to get a third edition. Actually, it's just Magakin got a third edition tome. Tzeentch was the end of second. Hedonites was the end of second, like right before. Blades of Corn was the beginning of second. But I still feel Slaanesh was built with third kind of in mind. And Tzeentch is still just good. And that, like, as a competitive standpoint, we want things to be good. And like the range was like 55% of a win rate to like 45. There's a fat middle that people reference. You'll hear other talking heads talk about where if everybody's okay, or if everybody's the same power level, that's good for the state of the game, and then it reflects more on skill. Then you're like, yeah, I'm putting all the broken units in my army and I'm auto winning. And I feel like that's an okay change. And I'm excited with how good the Maggotkin book is. I want to see what the new Blades of Corn looks like. I want to see Tzeentch still doing good, and I want some points touches on Slaanesh to make it more viable. Now we're going to go to Grand Alliance Death. Nagash got a new, again, all these god models in each thing, each Grand Alliance that I just did a video on got touched. Nagash gains a new ability, which is nice to add a ward +1 to your ward save for a unit. In the combat phase, that's gonna make up for a lot. Also, you can go into Night Haunt now, which is cool. And they have a hero in there that lets you add +1 to your ward save. So this you could stack onto that, because that's not capped in the rules. So, but this might end up getting FAQ'd, who knows. But stacking word saves, what you need to roll is okay. Not stacking like, I'm going to roll a 4-up, then I'm going to roll a 5-up board. That's gone. But the ability to make a 6-up word save a 4-up is huge. And it could lead to some interesting stuff, and could be that like band-aid that keeps Night Haunt going until they get a new book. I know my wife is happy. She likes that army. And I like it too. And Nagash has new abilities that affect returning slain models to death units, which is nice. But again, Nagash no longer benefits from allegiance abilities. This seems to be a thing with the god models that can go into the different armies, is they got rid of, hey, you get all this fancy stuff. And I'm okay with that, because when I play Warhammer, I want the story to be about my guys and my heroes and my gals, and we're kicking butt together and we're telling our story. I don't want to tell Nagash's story. I don't want to tell Archaeon's story. I liked it better before those were even named characters. I don't like using named characters if I can avoid it. But there's sometimes, like with my tournament armies, they're just so good. Like Gardas Steel Soul for the Stormcast. I need that around. And so making them, again, okay. They have their benefits in other armies, but they're not necessarily the auto win you would think. I like it. And we'll talk more about it when we get to Nagash's War Scroll. So here we've got the points changes. So I did do some math off screen. I'm very bad at editing, so I'm not even going to try to put it on the screen. But I can do this quickly here. The Battle Mage on Griffin here went down about 20 points. The Free Guild General on Griffin went down 15, which I love. The Dreadlord and the Sorceress each went down by 15 because nobody is taking them. The Free Guild General on Griffin and the Dragons here did get those new... Actually, just these Griffins and the Dragons got the... maybe the Battle Mage didn't, but they got a mount trait. The Dragon, I believe, does its Mortal Wound Breath easier. The Griffin, the Free Guild General on Griffin can come back to life on a 2-up. I've never had that happen in my games. So they're hero monsters that are supposed to be good this edition. They haven't getting played that much, and when they do get played, they lose horribly. I like the changes. Um, I love the 20 points off for the Battle Mage on Griffin. Also, Iron Drakes went up because, again, consistent, great shooting that can very easily get on 2s to hit and 2s to wound and have great rules. Should go up a little bit. Is it going to break most lists? No, it's not. There, some lists that are at 2,000 points, you can shift points around to figure that out. Whether it's like take the hero off a Hurricanum and make it a regular Hurricanum, you'll find ways to make room for your 30 Iron Drakes. The Daughters of Cain, the Avatar went down. I'm not going to even go through all the amounts. I'm just going to say if they went down or not. The Slaughter Queen went down as well, which is nice for the Foot Avatar. There's some play for that in Hagnar. The Slaughter Queen's just Knight, and Bloodstalkers went up 10 points. Again, is it going to break it? No. It's just you shift around a support hero. Maybe you take the Slaughter Queen that went down 10 points, if you were at... There's ways to mitigate it, is my point here. The Fire Slayers all went down double digits in points. It's nice. No one's probably still going to take them. The Eidolon of Mathland Aspect of the Sea, the Caster Eidolon, went down 30 points, which is huge. I don't think anyone's still going to take it. I want to mess around with a build in Morphan that's focused on regenerating Namarta units and healing and pairing up an Aspect of the Sea with a turtle so that you can just heal. Because that's the thing that gets Deepkin armies is the lack of healing we have, and we have no access to a ward save anymore because they took it away from our boats. But if I could just regen the wounds, the 2 or 3 mortal wounds done to my units, whether it's bringing back Namarti and Morphan, or bringing the Eidolon with a Life Swarm, let's say, and then using its normal healing spell to heal like the turtle or a unit of eels. There's play here. Is it going to win tournaments? I have no idea. But it's interesting. Pure drops for the Caradron Overlords here. The named hero getting a lovely 25-point drop. Everyone else going by 10. I don't know why the dirigible suit went down in points. Everybody loves taking him, but it's healthier for them. The highlight here of the LRL here is that Sentinels went up 20 points. And if you were taking 40 to 50 of these guys, that added up really quickly. And that's an endless spell you're getting rid of. Or maybe even a 10 of the Sentinels to take something cheaper. It's nice. It's nice. And the thing is, Lumineth Realm Lords have, and everything else went down in points. But the LRL have such a large roster of stuff. We should be seeing more lists than just as many Sentinels as you can pack in tech lists. We're gonna see some variety, hopefully. The lovely Seraphon here have the Ark of Sotek Bastillodon going down 20 points, the Solar Engine going up 15, and the Salamander Hunting Pack going up points. I like the 140. I think it's got... I think you just remove one Salamander Hunting Pack. I don't know if it does that much. You swap out one of the skink heroes to be the lesser skink hero. Maybe you drop an endless spell. I don't know if it's a big enough increase to matter, but Seraphon players that play Salamander-based armies are going to feel it like the Sentinels players. Next for Stormcast, everything went down, except for the things we already knew that were going up, like the Storm Drake Guard. We already knew that. No, that was GW told us, and that's fine. The Night Draconis, Again, it's rocking 300 points. The Stormdrake Guard, we knew that went up already. That wasn't a surprise. The surprise was my man Gardas going down 10 points. The Ventus Fire Strike going down. I might need a Tauren Lion. It's because of the utility those things bring now between my cities and my Stormcast stuff. Sylvaneth, again, points decreases for what they touched. I never thought Dracha should have gone up points when 3.0 happened. And all three Trioloid varieties going down points is nice. Yeah, no, they're just nice. Will it save Sylvaneth? No. But hey, they didn't touch the trees this time. Flesh Eater Courts, the ghouls went down. Everything went down listed here. I like that the Zombie Dragon went down. I like that Crypt Horrors went down. Now Crypt Horrors can be a nice tanky block of wounds and meat. If you pair this up with a Nagash to make them a 5-up ward save and a 5-up save, and then you... Yeah, no, it's... you enjoy life right there. And the Zombie Dragon is the Terrorgeist's brother that no one ever remembers as part of the band. And honestly needs some more respect for what it can do. So I like this. Nighthaunt points. Black. Everything went down 20 that's listed here. I don't know why Reichner went down points, but I like it. The Bone Reapers, because some of the Nagash stuff kind of affected them negatively. He's not that good in their army. Going down points is still nice. Will it keep them around the 3-2 the army generally does at a 5-game tournament? With some people doing crazy stuff and going crazy with what used to be a Nagash build. I don't know. But I like the points drops to compensate. The Grave Lords, everything went down. I'm actually big on the Bloodseeker Palanquin. And I'm happy the Black Knights went down points because they got a new role in the new Soulblight book. Where they very, very quickly became like a screen and chaff in a 5-man unit. And I like the points drops to represent that just no one wants to take them in their new role for that. Before it was you took big blocks of them, you threw them up the table, they died. You brought them back through a gravesite, you threw them up the table, they died. And now in this new world, the 100 points for 5 Black Knights makes sense. Gloomspite Gits, yeah, they all went down a lot of points, but I don't think that's going to help the book. The book's problem was the Horde discounts are gone, and the reinforcement limits and coherency are kind of messing with their hordes. Maybe they're gonna get a new book soon because this isn't really addressing much. Like the Nighthaunt stuff, this isn't really addressing much. And same with the Bone Reapers. Well, some of these other things really do help a lot. The Deepkin are rumored to get a book sometime in the spring, maybe. So that could explain this. Let's see here. The Ogres are getting cheaper. Mostly by 10 points. The Noblars went down 20. I like it. I like where this is going because that's 6 Ogre Gluttons, I believe, for 250. That, again, this makes sense. If the Foot Ogres needed help, the Iron Guts definitely needed it. I don't know if that fixes their problem, but it's a step in the right direction. Alright, what else we got here? We've got the War Clans. I love that Gobspark went down in points. I love that Gordrak went down in points. I love the Gort Grunters went up in points. I like 20 points here. Some people thought they were going to go up 40 or 50. The real big thing of this points adjustment here to me is Games Workshop, because they're doing quarterly adjustments, are not trying to swing for the fences and over nerf things. And I can appreciate that because, you know what, in like 3 months, we might have another one of these if they actually like doing this. And then if it's still bad, they go up a few points. If Gore Grunts are good where they are, they stay, and that's okay. And again, if you were taking like 18 pigs that would mirror like the Morsar Guard eel spam of yesteryear, you're going to feel this 20 points. It's going to add up to be at least 3 pigs gone. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but it will affect a lot of lists, and it'll make you switch out for maybe a unit of brutes or or something. And then you start playing with it, and you're like, okay, maybe I just need 2 big units of Gore Grunters to do this. I don't need 3 full units, you know? Sons of Behemoth, they went down on points, which is nice. Beast of Chaos, my goodness. The Dragon Ogre Shagoth, the Drogers. I just did a video on this list. This list that I did last week, we save 100 point in Drogers and 30 points in the Shagoth and 15 points. So we're saying 145 points from the list I did for the deployment video last week in a masterclass. It'll be I'll link that at the end of this video if you want to go see it. But now you can go on there and say, hey, Rocco, your list is 145 points short. And you can see all the stuff I had crammed into that list. I like the change for Beast of Chaos. It's getting to a point, though, where points aren't going to matter if they get any lower. Because they just need better rules. After this, they just need better rules. It only goes so low. Blades of Corn, and big points drops down the board. Blood Warriors getting hella cheap. 190 for 10. Korgus Cole, I haven't seen him since probably the very beginning of 2nd edition. And these are good changes. They are. Will it make Corn immediately competitive? Probably not. But they're still good. All this is trending in the right direction. And with Tzeentch here, to make up for the nerfs of Archaeon and these horrors of Tzeentch that just went up 35 points here for for a unit of pink horrors is what they essentially are. Lovely change. Love it, love it, love it. Because I've seen, again, if you spam units like the Bloodstalkers, like the Sentinels, like the Iron Drakes, you're going to see points increases because it's just everyone's going to do it because that's the easiest way to do it and to play the army. And you don't do a well-balanced army like GW expects people to do. That you go find the broken stuff, you abuse it for a few months, and this is what happens. If you bring 70 ping horrors and host duplicitous where people cannot retreat from all your horrors, and you auto 6 the charge, or you can do some weird stuff, guess what? Your army's going to get hella expensive. And I don't know if 10 pink horrors is as good as 5 Blight Lords. Or Blight Kings. There they are, Blight Kings in the new Nurgle book. But 250 seems nice for where horrors are. And then the Acolytes get cheaper, the Zangor get cheaper, the Shaman gets cheaper. Zangor and Lighten on Foot get cheaper, which is nice. I don't know if that crosses over with the Beastmen book of them. But you know what? For Tzeentch itself, it's opening up a Zangor build. It's opening up more of an Acolyte build. And it's making pink horrors cost what they probably should have cost to start with. Now we've got the Hedonites here, who finally are getting the points decreases they need. Blitzbarb Archers being 170 is kind of a meme. But you gotta understand that when it comes to shooting in factions that just don't have shooting, of course it's going to be more expensive. It's just 170 still feels bad for these guys. And then the Painbringer's going down, the Twin Soul's going down, the Slongor, that should probably be like a unit of 5 for 130, but hey, they're not going to repackage those. And then Skaven, I mean, sure, yay the Night Runners going down, yay the Death Master. I like the Plague Priest on Furnace going down. It's only 10 points, but that could help. And the Plague Claw Catapult going down 25. Sure, no one's gonna take him anyway. The Slaves to Darkness warscroll, the Chaos Shrine finally went up by 30. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord went up by 20. Um, and then we're gonna go to the multiple factions. Oh, and everything else in the Chaos stuff, like the Chariots, all went down. The Ogroids went down, which is good. And again, you'd see 2 Chaos War Shrines. They're good. If I take one and I just bring stuff to protect it, yeah, sure, that's fine. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord, everybody's bringing one. That's a nice, easy way to add 50 points to a list that you know it's gonna happen. And then Archaeon comes in here. He goes up by 30 points. And we've seen some of his rule changes. We'll discuss it on his War Scroll. I think he's pointed appropriately where if you bring him, he's good, not great. He can still win you a lot of games. If you're a really good player, you're still going to be able to abuse him, and he still kills everything. He still kills enough to be an 860 point model. It's just not as consistent. So it just might take you that extra turn longer. In that case, you might die. And that's the give and take of a war game. Gotrek went up 50 points. I don't know if that's enough. But I think it's enough to just scare people off of him. And that might be a win in itself, if that makes sense. And I'm sorry if you hear me like sniffling a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of the cold because it is winter. And then finally we have Nagash, who went down 15 points to compensate for some of the kind of nerfs that went to him. But still, he's almost half. Well, he is about half your army when you pick him. So I don't know. Like Flesh Eater Courts and Nighthaunt are gonna love him. OBR, not so much. Soulblight, partly because we'll get to it, but we're gonna go to Kragnos right now because this is his new War Scroll. We're gonna go over some of these changes real quick. All right, so Kragnos is, I mean, most like his attack profiles, that all stayed. What they added was this mightiest makes rightiest thing, which is he counts as multiple bodies on an objective, so he's freaking usable. 30 to start with. He's the end of empires. He better freaking murder people. And now it feels like he can. The War Master ability got updated a little bit, so he does not benefit from faction abilities, which you'll see is a common feature now for the next couple War Scrolls. Bellow of Rage is still good. The Charge ability to pick an enemy monster, and then you do the Mortal Wound thing. That's nice. The End of Empires, which used to be Destroyer of the Draconith Empire, changed. So we're no longer a dragon hater. So this guy's gone up in my book. What this is now a 3d6 charge for friendly destruction units within 12 of him. And from what I've gathered from my ogre friends, they love this because their ogre charge is the charge roll. You roll the dice, and whatever you rolled is the charge roll. You roll that many dice that the charge roll is. So if you rolled a 9 on 2 dice, you'd roll 9 dice. If it was a monster that charged in on a 4-up, they do a mortal wound. If it's a small unit, it's a 6-up. If it's a large unit, it's a 4-up again. And that apparently works with this, where it's a 3d6 charge. Goblins are going to love this. I think Trogs are going to love this. Kragnos is feeling great right now. And as the Avatar of Destruction, He cannot be insta-killed, which is nice. Which I don't think he had before. I think you could have Hand of Dusted him before. He just takes D6 mortals. We've got the Mightiest Makes Rightiest thing, the charge, which is good. Then Shield and Volatile here. Here we go. We've got this unit has a 6-up ward. That's all you need. And you still have the Spell Ignore. And at a 2-up armor save, which is silly, but 18 wounds at over 700 points, Kragnos is honestly worth taking, being a bit over a third of your army points. Sure, he can't fly, but he finally empowers all the stuff around him to destroy stuff. He's the god of destruction. He should be able to empower people to destroy stuff. I like it. Next is Nagash, Supreme Lord of the Undead. Changes on the weapon profiles are, I don't know if this is correct, but currently it's Spectral Claws and Daggers for little ghost buddies. Hits on a 3, wounds on a 4, no ren, 1 damage. And also looking at this, they don't have Deathly Frightening Touch or whatever, where 6s to hit do a mortal wound, which normally accompanies the Spectral Claw and Daggers, because they're Spirit Host models. But instead they hit and wound better, instead of a 5 and a 5. But everything else is pretty stock standard here. Looking at his profile, he's a 3-cast wizard. You know, the books give him extra spell cast still. The attacks are still good. The bonuses to casting are great. 16 wounds at a 3-up save, 9-inch move. You fly, which is still nice. War Master, though. We can now be included in all the Death Armies, which is what everybody thought should have happened to start with. So, thank you, Games Workshop. Always the General. That's nice. In addition, you can still use your Army's Allegiance abilities. Great. But Nagash doesn't benefit from them. So, that's the, retreat in charge or run in charge you can find with the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. That, he's not ethereal in a Nighthaunt army. He's got his companions. It does hurt. But we work on it, He's got his staff, which is nice. He can still cast Arcane Bolt a number of times. Not Mystic Shield. Interesting. The extra books, Invocation of Nagash, which is the healing or returning models for wounds characteristics. He's got the new, let's see here, more arcane. I don't believe that changed. They just changed the wording of it. It's functionally the same thing. It's on a 4-up. Is a unit of a 4-up ward, which is nice that they're cleaning up and standardizing the language of saying what a ward save is. And on a 6, the attacking unit suffers a mortal wound. So it still reflects back. It's just cleaned up better. Supreme Lord of the Undead is really cool. That if you have an ability that returns a friendly death unit, models to a friendly death unit, if you reroll the dice, if you're rolling a d3, or add 1 to the number of slain models returned to the unit, which is really cool. What this means is if you were returning 3 models, now you get to add 4 instead of 3. Or, if it's a D3, you roll a 1, you can try to re-roll it again. I like it. I do. There's going to be... Nighthaunt's going to freaking love that. Deathly Magic. You can add 1 to ward saves for units that are not Nagash. Hand of Dust is still there. Soul Stealer is still there, and you can heal, which is cool. That's the only way he can heal now, because he can't heal himself. And it's nice. One thing that I wonder is, does he get a ward save? because ward saves are generally given through allegiance abilities. And if he doesn't have a ward save, I mean, I might just be missing it. Someone say in the comments, does Nagash get a ward save? Where you can still use the army's allegiance abilities, even though this unit doesn't benefit from them. You know, it's Deathless Courtiers and Flesh Eater Courts. Flesh Eater Court units get a 6-up ward save near heroes. Night Haunt, you know, and so it's like all the deathless minions and stuff. It's all from being within range of heroes, or if it's OBR, also in range of certain unit champions or units. I don't know that Nagash is going to be worth it without his ward save. I don't know that in general it's gonna be nice for Night Haunt, because they could use the healing. But if Nagash just dies, that's half your army gone. I don't know if in a competitive level it's gonna work out. I also don't see anywhere on here that he gets a word save because of that whole bit. But you know, it's if this unit is part of a Night Haunt, Flesh Eater Court army, it knows spells from the spell lords of the fact in that faction's allegiance abilities in order to know other spells it knows, which is nice. So you can at least take like Night Haunt spells and Flesh Eater Court spells. And our keywords here are Death, Death Lord's Hero, Monster, Wizard, Nagash. So if it's a spell that's like give a friendly Night Haunt unit a 5-up ward save, no keyword for that. We're not counted as that because of the War Master ability. So I don't know. I don't know where Nagash goes, but I'm not necessarily feeling him for competitive play. For fun, yes. For narrative, the model's amazing. Will that giving him a ward save get FAQ'd into here as an FAQ to the FAQ? Probably. So, you know, by the time this hits print, maybe he'll already have it back. But I don't see anything that says he would get a ward save because he can't get the faction abilities. You know, except for the I should say the mortal wound ward save. He does still have that. But just the generic on a 6-up ignore a wound taken, that's gone. Yeah. Because he has the normal on a 4-up for mortal wound protection. In addition, this model has a ward save of a 6. If the ward save for this unit is a 6, because that, again, this is just, if someone shoots a spell at him, he goes, yeah, and shoots it back at him. I'm going to go on to Archaeon, which, again, the attack profiles are still looking really, really juicy here. We still have all the damage, a great wound table that he still move 8 inches. It actually shortened the wound table. It used to be at 16 plus. You went down to 6 inches of movement, so this is just all around better. It's still a 2-caster, still a War Master thing, which is nice. As an opponent, not nice as the player, because you're gonna be a little sad with the points changes. Again, it's rough. The unit has a 4 ward save against mortal wounds, which is still nice. And again, you still have a 3-up armor save. Like Nagash still has the 3-up armor save. But he's still going to be really hard to kill. You know, you just all out defense in the shooting phase. You're up to a 2-up, and then, you know, you just have fun. By my will, got changed to a friendly chaos unit. This unit cannot issue this command to itself, which is a huge thing. So that he cannot die and then fight again. So if you're in a mirror match, whichever Archaeon goes first has a chance of just putting the other person in the sword. Because I don't believe he has protection from insta killing. We've got the Crown of Damnation for +2 bravery for friendlies, -2 for enemies. The Eye of Shirian. The Eye of Ed Sheeran, as everyone jokes. Once per game, -1 to hit. That stayed over from the last warscroll change he got. Each time this unit is affected by a spell or endless spell, on a 4-up you ignore it. Slayer of Kings, insta-killing heroes. Dwargar here's is the 3 heads, which is still heal, do mortal wounds, and eat an endless spell. Warlord without equal, get an extra command point. I like that. And again, it's one of those you lose a lot. You do. And also the armor of Melkor, Morkar, this word. They just cleaned up the wording to say it's a 4-up war state, not on a 1-3 nothing happens. Overall, Archaeon again is good. He still has a lot of the right keywords to affect him with different spells. And in Slaves to Dark, he still got the Demon Immortal keyword. That's nice. It's just he's meant to stay in Slaves to Darkness now, and is a nice pick to go into the other God-marked armies. But he alone won't carry Tzeentch anymore. And it's one of those things that overall is for the good of the meta, but you as an Archaeon player are going to feel this. But again, if we're looking at all this here from the top, a lot of these changes are in the right direction for the overall health of the game. And now you've got 800 some odd points to fill in with what used to be an Archaeon. You can get 3 units of pink horrors. I don't know if that's better or worse, but you can do that now. The new points adjustments, again, are in the right spot. You would think some things would be adjusted higher, some things would be pointed lower. You look at Marathi and go, huh? But overall, everything's in the right direction. And if this is going to be the quarterly update Games Workshop has promised us, and they're going to follow through with this, I like it. It's not drastic changes. Kragnos finally got usable. Nagash, his reign of terror seems to have come to an end, and I hope I'm wrong on the regular 6-up ward save, but at least he still has his good ward save against mortal wounds, right? Right? The ensorcelled armor bit is still nice. But I look at this as like long strikes are just gonna tear this guy a new one. And fulminators and everything I own, I'm excited. Salamanders might don't mind the dog. I just don't. I don't know. But again, except for Nagash and Archaeon, love the changes. I think it's just Nagash has a 6-up ward save at all times, and he's fixed. Archaeon has terrorized the meta for too long, and he's getting his just desserts. And the fun part is he's still good in Slaves to Darkness. It's just now he's got to help out his own homies instead of going to Tzeentch and going to Khorne. And gosh, I've played against so much Archaeon. I'm okay. Like, not as an Archaeon player, I'm okay with this. But for you Chaos players, I'm sorry. But now you get to collect a whole bunch of stuff for your army to fill in the points gap. That's cool, right? Right? Ugh. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to class. December. Depending on what holiday you celebrate, I can't possibly do them all individually, so I'm going to say happy holidays. And uh, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment on if you think Nagash is going to get a ward save, like a generic one. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.